Hello, hello. Ah, that was funny earlier. I was setting up the stream and accidentally hit go live when I was typing in settings because I hit enter and it started it. And I was like, might as well just go with it and see if it works. And it was working, so that's good. I'm got the TikTok stuff all configured. At least it looks correct. That's good. You hear me all right? You hear the music all right? Can't read the clock on which platform? On TikTok? Hear it on Twitch, it looks. You don't have to buy it. Shamsonite, thank you for that follow. Much appreciated. I'll be right back. Hey, just want to say hello to all the platforms and appreciate you being here. We've got Twitch, Facebook, TikTok, Steam, all the major platforms. I just want to let you know I appreciate you being here. We'll be live momentarily, so just hang tight. We'll get started a little bit early. You want to make sure I'm heard across all platforms here. So if you are watching me right now on, say, Twitch, just let me know if you can hear me and hear the music. If you are live right now on Facebook, I'd love to know. And if you are on TikTok, go ahead and raise a hand. Let me know in chat if you can hear me. And then lastly, YouTube and Twitter. Please let me know if you guys and gals can hear me and see me. Just noticing there's a little discrepancy here. Getting it all set. While we were doing the countdown, there was like 50 people watching on TikTok. I should have just started earlier, but I was trying to make sure everything was good. So welcome back, one and all. My name is Mac. I am the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist. Dungeon Alchemist is the application you see in front of you, but if you're not aware, it is a map-making utility and immersion tool that is available on Steam. And it allows you to build maps primarily set in a fantasy setting for tabletop games, tabletop RPGs, such as D&D, Pathfinder, etc. Thank you. Today's stream is a showcase of maps made in Dungeon Alchemist, kind of giving you an idea of what's possible. And we also showcase amazing 3D models that are shared on Steam Workshop for Dungeon Alchemist. So our community can make maps and share those maps, as well as share 3D models to expand your model, repository, so you can build more intricate maps and detailed maps, or even different genre. And those assets and maps can be viewed through the Steam Workshop tab in Dungeon Alchemist, right here. You can browse 3D models, tokens, whatever, to expand your library and give you more functionality. Or you can download maps, like I found this one here. Hey, Will, how you doing, buddy? Let's see here. So if you go to Browse Maps under the Steam Workshop tab, you can see the most popular maps at the moment. You can sort by most recent, which is my favorite thing to do. I'm not lying. I really love sorting by... But I found this map here, the World Serpent Inn. Oh wow, this is their first map. My personal take on the Plains Hopping Tavern and First Row map. Credit for shared assets go to those on the workshop that graciously shared for free use. Likewise, feel free to use this map as it suits you. Cheers. So, it's essentially a tavern with all these different portals, which is a great use of the arch portals. All archway doors now can be portals. So any archway, not just the wooden one, stone, whatever, metal. As long as it's got an arch in the door without a door in it, then you can change the portal type. So there's a bunch of diverse portals here, allowing people to come and go from different realms and locations freely. I love the use of the mirrors here. It's great. You can actually see the portals in the mirrors, but they're kind of blank. Weird. Don't have a color. Interesting. I do love that the mirrors like show reflections of the tokens and the objects on there. Very cool use of the mirrors in the center there. I like it. I like it a lot. Stone arch doesn't? What are you talking about, really? I'm pretty sure all archway doors. Yeah. So that stone one can. Let's try a bunch of doors. We'll look through them until we find one that can't. Sound good? I'm gonna delete this arch. And then I'm gonna put go into archway. So that's one. We already know this one can because it's right there. So if it has that symbol, it should be able to. Let's try this arch. This one can. That one's stone, broken arch. Let's try the broken arch. That one could be cool. Oh, that one doesn't. Interesting. Okay. So all of them should. Maybe because it's broken, it doesn't work. That's the logic there. Let me see if there's any other stone ones. That one does. Gothic stone arch. Cat fur or something just landed on my face. That one does. Huh. That one does. The moon arch does. So far, pretty much all of them except for the broken one have worked. I'm not doubting you, but I'm assuming the only one that doesn't work is it doesn't work because it is broken, but I'll just pass that on to the devs for sure. Oh, you mean this? You know, technically, it does say arch on it. That is a good point. It's not considered a door, which they mean the door arches. I don't know why this is coming up here. Comes up under rock. Oh, no, you know what? These should do it. You're right. That one does. Does this one. I'm trying to put it up and it won't, like, it's fighting me. That one does too. Just the standalone arch won't. So if it's the object arch, like these arches and objects probably will not. But these are object arches. They're not door arches. Out of all of the door ones we tried, though, the only one that had a problem that was stone-based was this broken one. And I'll ask the devs about that. But yeah, you can definitely... That looks really cool. Not gonna lie. Like, very ominous. Oh, yeah, it is kind of like that, huh? Oh, yeah, there is a chess set there. I didn't actually make this map, so I was looking for the chess set for, like, the last minute or two. Lovely. I also like how they use the cutting board like one of those little flip-up entry points to the bar. It looks really nice. Very clean-looking bar. So, Elf Monster, this is a map made in Dungeon Alchemist that is a lovely tavern. I found this earlier on the workshop. You can search maps on the Steam Workshop. There's almost 9,000 of them shared by our community members. This one's called the World Serpent Inn. And then I just opened it up, which it's here, and I've been just kind of checking it out and sharing it. But it is a very neat map, very beautiful. But if you're not aware, this is the official Dungeon Alchemist channel. My name is Mac. I'm the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist. And Dungeon Alchemist is a map making tool and immersion utility that allows you to build maps for your tabletop campaigns, such as for, D&D, Pathfinder, etc. Another major benefit is our maps can be used in a lot of different ways. You can print them, you can export them for TV tabletop, projector tabletop, virtual tabletops such as Foundry, Fantasy Grounds, Roll20, Above VTT, Owlbear, Rodeo, etc. So there is a lot of versatility. Oh, cool. I wasn't sure. Just wanted to make sure. And for anyone who isn't aware, maybe a first-time watcher or someone new to our community, now you know. You use this program to plan out a condo layout? That's awesome, actually. I really love this little terrace area. Like the VIP spot up here. But oh yeah, so what I was trying to get at is the this particular asset, the couch, the leather couch, has been updated. It's been kind of given better graphics and design. Been given a facelift because it's one of the first iterations of assets. The older version of it was, and now you can change like the color on the couches. You can swap it out and make it like different parts of it to look different. It's very nice, actually. Really enjoy it. It is a beautiful map. Figures have their own section. It's called tokens. Bridge, so it would usually, most of them would be under this section here. If you're curious. Which this little pond looking thing. Hey Von Yakos, what's new, brother? But essentially, there's an assortment of tokens that are included for free in Dungeon Alchemist, and we have a partnership with Bite the Bullet Studios, which we just started. So there's 23 new tokens that were added as part of that. And then if you have Hero Forge, if you've used Hero Forge and purchased any tokens through them as like a 3D digital, not a 3D print, 3D digital. So if you've like exported it for another virtual tabletop, for instance, you can get the tokens through them and integrate them into Dungeon Alchemist. What you been up to, Von Yakos? But typically tokens will appear under this menu, not the object menu. Only really would like a token type thing appear here is if someone like added it into the insect menu, for instance. So if you downloaded it from the workshop, when you download things from the workshop, people can kind of determine what section it's in. So as long as they set it up as a token, then yes, it'll download and go to the token section. But if, for instance, they set it up as like an animal will have a completely different section. It'll be in the object menu versus the token menu. It might even be in both, depending on how they configured it. Oh, dang. So you're managing two different stores or just a different one entirely? Ah, this map is something else. Let's pop down in a token and take a look at it in first person. Hey, I'll take a beer. A brewski. Can we bring the brewskis? Oh man, I love this, but I wish the mirror better reflected it. It's just like white. It's like washed out or doesn't see the effect or something. Am I crazy? Well, I'm happy for you, brother. Got a bard back here jamming out. Very cool. There. Really enjoy the round space here too. Correct. This is the dam stream. The dam challenge, you have until the 21st to submit. I gave everyone extra time so they would have time to use all the new assets as part of their builds. Old Van Halen, nice. Which song? Just a bunch of them? But I have the little dam challenge info, you know, so people who want to know can see it at a glance on the feed there. Love it. You know, a place like this, if they expanded and added rooms and like workshops and stuff, could easily be like a home base for some sort of like a campaign setting where, you know, you have maybe like a West Marches style, essentially, where it's a campaign where lots of people participate, but they need like a home base in between where they hang out, and this would be a great space for it. And then there's portals, so they can get to and from to like key points very quickly, like a fast travel system, which would speed things along. You know, as long as they have a portal on the other end somewhere that they found or like have a transit to. It'd be cool. Really, Will? That's cool. How many people are total in the West Marches? Really love the wine bottle now too. It's just the glass is so much more prime. Looking through it, it just looks so beautiful. Much more detailed glass. That's very cool. Very cool. Okay, I just want to make sure I'm not missing a chat feed here, and I might be. Hold on. It's noticed. One of them is not refreshing. Okay, I fixed it. We good. Okay, I fixed it. I was wondering what the heck was going on. My Steam chat wasn't working. Also going to refresh the main chat to make sure that YouTube is coming through. So, Seisu, apparently Twitch has a policy that it's fine with multi-streaming, but you can't facilitate any sort of like... You're not supposed to, at least, facilitate some kind of mechanism to cross over the chat on Twitch. So I'm going to try and figure out a way to maybe exclude it from the Twitch feed, but if I can't, then we're probably going to just have to figure out a way for the moderators to only get chat. It is really dumb. All the other stream sites don't seem to care, as far as I'm aware. But it is what it is. I don't, you know, it is their policy. I think, though, what I might come up with is like a chat widget for the moderators so they can monitor all chats simultaneously from a single, like, web page, instead of having to be like on 20 of them, so you could just have like a tab up to the side and see the chat feed. I mean, you can make content in Dungeon Alchemist and resell it. We have no problem with that. Article 4.1 of our terms and conditions, which is available on our website, or I believe you can actually see it right here under this tab. right here, terms of use. You click that, it goes to our website. And Article 4.1 states, basically, if you come down here, the user, however, qualifies as a legal entity in the broadest sense and uses the software for commercial purposes. The current license can no longer be used if the user or its affiliates in the broadest sense generates an annual turnover of more than 100,000 US dollars here, here and thereafter professional. So essentially what that means in layman's terms and like the simplest terms is basically you don't need to worry about approaching us for a professional or a business license for Dungeon Alchemist unless you surpass 100,000 US dollars in an annual turnover situation. So you can make modules, you can make maps, you can make campaign books and include Dungeon Alchemist stuff in it. And once you surpass $100,000 in tandem with all those things, then you would have to reach out to us. Oh. Is that what you're going? Yeah, I honestly, like, the first person who does that, I'm gonna, like, throw them a party, I feel like, or a big party stream, and maybe get them a bottle of champagne or something. Like, I'm all for it. Do it. That's amazing. So if you're looking on the workshop and you want to grab a map or an asset, if you're using those, they're not for resale or they're not for use in commercial use. So the maps you find on the workshop, they're for personal use in your own personal campaigns, or, you know, you can't just flip them and put them into a campaign book. So you have to make the maps yourselves. So, and assets you use in your own maps for sale, you'd want to make sure that you have the rights to those or you made them yourself. So that, you know, is something that goes without saying. You need to own the rights to all the content within. So we allow you to use Dungeon Alchemist, but if you're using other people's maps or other people's assets from the workshop, then yeah, many of those assets aren't for resale. The licensing on them is just for creative use only. Gotcha. Cool. I just wanted to clarify. That's true. You would have to make your own assets and use them in your maps if you want to, like, be able to resell them, essentially, unless it's the stock DA asset. So essentially, if you're getting stuff from the workshop, you're going to want to exclude that. And a great thing about DA now is, like, assets you get from the workshop now have this icon on them. So if you download an asset from the workshop, you'll know right away at a glance when you're looking through stuff if it's from the workshop, so you can quickly just, oh, I don't need to use that in this build. Hey, Era of Eden, how you doing? Welcome, welcome. All right, let's see how. This map's pretty cool, but I'm gonna open up another one. Like, my assets on the workshop, any of them that say MacX3D on them, you can use them in your maps if you're reselling. I know a couple other people are fine with it too. But I've kind of just said with, you know, with perpetuity that any asset I upload can be used that way. So I have a small collection that I've shared. These palisades, these couple freestanding doors, a pool table. Seymour, the puppers. Blender, Tinkercad. There's a lot of tools out there that are free, some that are relatively low cost. Like if you have an iPad, there's a really great tool called ZBrush, or even Procreate. But they're all both about like $20, $30 each. Depending on what you have is like a tool to use. Blender is probably the best bet because it's free and it gives you a lot of room to grow. Speaking of Blender, most of the editing on that is done. I had a lot on my plate during the launch. So I kind of tabled that, the Blender Basics editing, because it was like, I don't know, like 10, 15 hours of video that I had to watch through and edit. So it was just too much to add to my schedule while I was focused on the trailer and all of the teaser content and early access streams and stuff like that. Early access creators. It was just a whole list of things. All right. find a new map. Let's search by most recent. And almost to 8,900. Getting really close to that. I'm confused how this was done, but my brain is going to be broken and we'll take a look at it. Okay, so it's... How in the heck did they stretch up the dark parchment? I know those are like objects, but I'm so confused by that. Alright, I'm not going to question it. Yeah, most likely. Wow, this is really cool. Ooh, cloak. Nice. This is pretty neat. It's, I mean, there's an assortment of like export options for both of those tools. I believe Tinkercad does like STL and OBJ, but Blender does like a whole assortment. But Dungeon Alchemist only works with like STL, FBX, and GLB/GLTF files currently for import. That's a good. Blender's a great tool to get started with because it's free. Tinkercad is also great because it's free. You know, that's usually why I pick those options, is I'm just looking for something simple. That it's like simple and cost effective. Usually people don't want to spend money when they're trying to learn something like they're not sure if they're going to be interested in it. So if you could try Blender or Tinkercad, they're both free. One is installed locally, one's web-based. And, one's a little bit simpler. I will admit Tinkercad's a lot simpler than Blender. But there's a good amount of documentation around for Blender, so should be able to get into learning it pretty easily. And soon I'm going to be releasing a video set on our YouTube that was hosted by one of our mods, Asmodeus, who taught kind of the basics of Blender and integrating it with our import. Very neat, for sure. Very cool. I don't think it does that, but it might do it now. There was a map the other day that did it, and it didn't do this, so that's why I'm confused by it. Let's see here. Yeah, I love Tinkercad. I've used it for years. Hundreds of designs and prints with it. Let's test this really quick. I'm just going to do a dungeon cell. So you can't raise this. That's why it's confusing. My best bet is they started it in another biome and then moved here. So like if you went something like this and started in, say, let's go 20 by 20 in just like a forest. My hope is that if you take a structure like like this here. Make it round, right? Raise it up to like a 2. Yeah, see, if you start putting them on different levels, they're going to fight with each other. I think there's a tutorial sack put together to allow you to do something like this. I was hoping, but yeah, you start raising it off of that, you know, adjacent, it starts giving you trouble. Soon, TM. Well, let's get back into looking at maps. I'm so confused by that, but it looks like probably dam manipulation, which we can't really cover on the stream, so... As much as I would love to teach you, I cannot. Let's take a look at this. All right. So here we have a lovely little city map. Noticing is on fire with lots of effects, so I'm going to just lower the quality so we don't get as much lag and zoom into a tighter area of the map. But as you can see, there's like city streets. Lots of areas of the map are on fire or under attack. I like a layout like this. People are really starting to take advantage of being able to rotate buildings and use diagonal spaces. We're starting to see a lot more, you know, unique layouts of like cities and floor plans in general. Lots of effects. Thomas Moore, thank you for the sub. Much appreciated. That's from YouTube. Thank you, thank you. Hey, gaming related, how you doing? Welcome back. Place a token. Little walk. Hey, Aiko, how are you? Oh. Last couple days, I was so exhausted just trying to get back onto like a US time schedule. I felt like I was jet lagged. I'm pretty much back to normal now, and yeah. How are you doing? Did you like, were you okay after launch? I'm sure everyone was pretty beat. Turn the snow weather off instead. So when you're in the terrain tab, right, you have both here can be snow, right, and here can be snow. Turn off this one to no weather, then it won't get snow inside. That means there won't be any snow on like trees and objects and stuff outside, but it'll be on the ground still. Hey, DJ. How you doing? Is that DJ Axiom? It's one or the other, I'm afraid, my friend, at this point. So if you turn the weather back on, it litters it all over objects. It really shouldn't be inside of the Baba Yaga hut. I'm not sure why it is. I would report it if I were you. In fact. But for right now, that would be the only workaround. I would just say under the feedback tab in DA, it says report bug right here. Do it right from the map you're having the issue. and then give very detailed information here, right? As detailed as you can, very specific, and then hit submit report. That'll send them all this information and also the map. The devs will take a look at it, and if they agree with the behavior not being how it should, they'll fix it. Most likely it has snow allowed inside, which it shouldn't with the roof off. It should allow you to decorate and see inside with the roof off and not have snow all over inside of it. There's a few objects that have that problem, and I think it's just overlooked sometimes. Honestly, Rifus, it's very, very easy to overlook things in DA because it's one of those programs that starts very simple, but has a lot of room to grow as a user. So you could overlook things and not understand or miss things, you know, and as you grow as a user and use it more and more, you'll find more and more things that can be, you know, useful for you. I find that usually we have like people who are just like, they want a quick map to save time and they don't really want to detail it too much, and it just the more time they save and the simpler it is, the better. And then there is the group who is like power users who want to do everything and anything they can in Dungeon Alchemist, learn it inside and out, and become like you know, just know how to do everything with it. And there is also users who kind of slowly gain a lot of knowledge with it over time. There's a lot of different parties in our community who are, I think, you know, just kind of taking it a step at a time and learning DA as they go in their own pace, which is very important. So, you know, if you got Dungeon Alchemist to be a time saver, it makes sense to, you know, use it in that way. If you got DA to kind of be more of an art tool, or really to allow you to express yourself more, you might spend a lot more time in it than you would someone who's trying to save time, right? And that's not necessarily a bad thing at all, ever. Use the Dungeon Alchemist however you see fit and however is best for your table. I'm noticing, okay, is there two sides to that iris? Okay, just one eye. Cool. Anyway, I think, you know, that's the best part about Dungeon Alchemist, is it's very versatile. You can use it as a power user or a, you know, an everyday, you know, just user that just wants very simple maps. DJ Axiom, yeah, we'll check it out. Is it on the workshop? On the Steam Workshop? I like how it's just like there's a bunch of fire and smoke and stuff. It definitely feels like there is something going on here. It's like under siege, if you will. I'm trying to get to that structure, if we can find it. That's fine. Even if it's before the magic update, as long as it's on the workshop, I should be able to find it and open it. Rise, yeah, okay, so open the map that you want to load onto the workshop. So let's say this was the map you made and you wanted to share on the workshop. Rise, you click that, right? And then you go to Steam Workshop and you click Publish Map, right there. Under this top menu, Steam Workshop tab, Publish Map, right? First things first, make sure you title the map, so give it a good title. Make sure if it's got like multiple names, like port of whatever, or port something, space it. If it's not spaced, the search will be weird on Steam. So Port Haverton, I'm just giving you an example. Make sure you set the visibility correctly. If it's private, only you can see it. If it's friends, only you and your friends can see it on Steam. And if it's public, everyone can see it. Lastly, give it a good detailed description. The more descriptive, the better. In fact, if you want to be able to have someone search your maps by your username, a good tip is to put your username down at the bottom. Because currently there isn't a way to sort by username, but you can search by username if it's in the description. Use keywords. Use good description, because the more information there is, that's all searchable terms. Lastly, if you click on the screenshot, you can go into the cinematic kind of screenshot mode and get a good little screenshot of the map, right? Which then changes the image. And you hit publish, and then it'll go published. You know, it would be nice if in the asset importer there was a checkbox, right? So while you're setting up an asset, maybe a configuration check here or here in the publish tab that is like, you know, allowed for whatever. You could, we'd have to come up with the correct licensing term. But, you know, are you okay with this asset being used, you know, in maps that are potentially being resold or for profit? You know, something along those lines. We'd come up with a legal terminology or something. But that would allow it to people to check it, and then just it would do it all across the board. The problem is there is no option for that on the Steam Workshop built into Steam itself. So it would probably just be like a little tag in the asset itself. Or it would put it in a menu that allows it to be more searchable. I definitely would recommend adding that on Upvote. Yeah, you can. You can resell maps you made in DA. As long as they're map you made 100% yourself. Like, you can't just take a map from the workshop, make a few changes, and sell it. So don't use anyone else's maps or assets from the workshop, especially because most of the assets on the workshop are either just being shared for personal use or they're Creative Commons assets, which means somebody else made them and they allow you to share them for personal use, but not for resale. Yeah, that link in chat, DJ, is what you want to look for. What was the name of your map again, my friend? What was it? Something started with an F, I feel like. Where is it? Diem? Okay, I'm going to call you Diem from now on. Let's see here. Barovian City. I found it. Is it Pharaoh-Vane or Pharaovian? Pharaoh-Vane is like Iron Vein, right? Oh, Rise, if you've got a map that you want me to check out, I'll check it out too. But yeah, Diem was saying they had a map and they wanted me to take a look at it, so we're loading it up. Cool. Barovian? Cool. Neat. Very cool. Oh, I like how that opened up. Whoop. Whoop. Gotta fill those shelves up, man. What's this guy selling? I guess he's got a few things. This has definitely got a dwarven feel to it. Not sure if that's what you were going for, but it has that vibe. Ooh, there's a pit. I like this. I like this map. And you made it before magic, which makes sense as to why there's no diagonals. Thank you for the heads up. This is very cool. Ooh. Is this like a stash? Looks like a trap. Or maybe like a altar. I really like it. Oh, that looks like a comfy tavern. Let's take a walk. I always like looking in taverns. That's like one of my favorite things to do. Got a little message board. Did you know you can insert images into these so you can put like wanted posters or whatever? So you could actually put information here for your players. And what you can do is if they ask, hey, is there something on this message board? You can have a screenshot or a video of it ready to give them as a handout. So you could take a screenshot like right here with the F key and save it, or a quick recording of it. It's an altar. So is that like a place where people make worship or like make donations and stuff? The altar? It looked like it based on the stuff there. It's a really good idea. I'm full of good ideas. So you could just say, you know, especially if this is a place they're visiting a lot, you could say there is a bounty board out in front of the tavern, and you're welcome to check it anytime you visit the town. A lot of items in DA you can customize and put custom stuff on it. Paintings, blackboards. There's a few paper things like stacks of paper, parchment paper, things like that. This board here, a few signs that you can hang can be customized. Look, it says DA there. You can trigger it. And it shows a total. I like this. This is clean. Ooh, fancy. A little gambling hall back here. Uh-oh, you got some tree clippage over here. One thing you got to be careful about, the one thing that does clip through buildings pretty easy is trees. And that's because they're colliders, the invisible boxes that tell DA how big it is relative to other objects, aren't as big as the foliage on them. They're more about as big as the trunk. So sometimes they'll overlap into the wall. And that's a really simple thing to overlook, so don't beat yourself up over it. I just dragged them to the side, simple fix. That's why I like to walk through in first person as well, because first person you tend to notice little things like that that might be easily missed. Ooh, very clean. Got some private rooms with just enough space to really be comfortable. Yeah, I like that. So a first person walkthrough of your maps is brilliant because you can fill out the space. Especially you can see how it feels for combat. Like, I really love walking around and like, oh, are you going to want to allow combat in this hallway here? Maybe not. A 5-foot hallway will be a slag for combat, so you may not want to do combat encounters here. I really like the diversity of this, though. This is a really clean pub. May I ask how long you took to make this map in like the total map, the whole thing? If you have an idea. You know, all I gotta say with the flesh assets is I was on the fence about them, and there was a couple of them that were significantly worse that were toned down. You know what? It is what it is, you know? Let's just say that. I try to be the voice of reason sometimes, and also remind that, you know, that it is a community, a whole community of people with varied ages and things, and I think at the end of the day, they just kind of wanted some things that felt a little off and macabre, that are a little bit different magically, you know? So, like, even in my home, you know, like the average home's hallway, depending, you know, they're going to be anywhere from, you know, 5 to 10 feet wide, roughly 3 to 10 feet wide, depending on your home and your spaces. So, yeah, a 5-foot hallway is normal, but in a combat situation, if it's a long 5-foot hallway, it can become pretty boring for players unless you allow them to traverse the space of their teammates using movement rules, you know, that allow them to pass and do combat. And then you also have half cover rules and things like that. It just becomes a bit of a slag for combat, but it also, tight combat can be pretty fun too in the right situations. As long as they say, excuse me. Oh my. Hold on one sec. Where is this towel? Okay. Hi. How are you? Oh. Don't be a hot dog. Come here. Who's the good boy? Who's the good boy? He's wild. Seymour. This is Seymour. Who's a good papa? Seymour. Who's a good papa? He's coldy. He's shivering. Hey, Wolfie. How you doing, buddy? Who's a goob's boy? Who's a goob's boy? Say hi to everyone. Oh, you know, just snuggling my papa. He just came in to say hello. So DM, thank you for the follow, and Kaylin, thank you for the follow. I apologize if I missed those shout outs. It's been a little busy the last few minutes. Who's a Goops boy? Who's a Goops boy? Just laying on me. He looks like a stuffed animal. You're real, right? Speak. Won't speak when he doesn't bark unless he's like able to jump. You think his barks are like an energy source? Because his whole body has to like leap when he barks. Jump on the pool, it's nice and cool. They're just so sweet. Why are you shivering, precious? You wanna go back with Mom? Go back. Go get under the blanket, get a heat pad. Yeah, go baby boy. There's a baby boy. Okay, don't hot dog flip. Oh. Yeah, this is a fancy establishment. The entry point is really nice. You got the fan. Oh, you do have a sign there. I missed that when I walked in. Very clean. Oh, it's a little bit too big. You can't see the name of it. So these images, these spaces have image dimensions that they are very strict. You can put any image in, but if it's too big, it'll be cut off. So on our wiki, there's an entry that has all the dimensions. Seisu, if you could drop the link for that across, you know, whatever. But this is beautiful. I think it looks great. Ah, I see what you did there with the planks. Very cool. Oh, thank you, Asmo. How you doing, buddy? Missed you around these parts. What you been up to? Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay, someone else had a map that I was supposed to check out, right? What was that? What was the name of it? Another city name. Yeah, I see that. You used the lava gate. That's really cool. Casto? Perfect. I'll get that right now. This is a great use of the lava gate to be a doorway or a main gate. Brilliant use. Clever. Nice little drawbridge. Yikes. Cut you in half there. Lovely little map. Thank you for sharing this. Okay, let's look up that other one. Casto. Casto? Casto. Casto. Ooh. Well, that's a big boy. First off, let's just hope that Hendrik allows this to load just fine. 140 by 120. We're gonna do this. I need to make a link for that in the bot, so at least it saves you the trouble on Twitch. Luckily, there wasn't too many objects to download. Nice. Lovely little village. Holy cow. Got a little bit too far out and seeing too much stuff. It's not rendering well. Keep in mind DA is like a full like a 3D rendered environment in real time with like animations and stuff. It's best to keep your zoom tight to the focal point that you're looking at. That way you don't have to render as much. The more you zoom out, the more you have to render, the choppier it gets. This is really cool. Uh-oh, what's up with the smoldering logs? Was there a fire? Were they attacked? Really depends on your export settings and what platform you're doing it for. So why don't you tell me how would you want to export it? Charcoal burners. Ah, gotcha. So on a map this size, first off, if you're going to print it or whatever, the DPI isn't, I would say go high on DPI. But if you're going on a virtual tabletop, say Foundry, you're definitely going to want to keep it a low quality DPI. That'll keep the file size trim. You know, keep it at least free of any excess file. When you go up to 150, it's double the file size. And when you go to 700, it's almost 6 times the file size. When you go up to 300, I mean. So keeping that small is smart. Another thing, you could do no borders now, so you could trim off that 2-bit around. I personally still like the borders because the trees and buildings on the edge overhang. Yep, Foundry does have like a resolution and a max pixel limit and a file size limit. Most virtual tabletops do. So you got to keep that in mind. And you also want your players to be able to load it effectively. So smaller file size is the name of the game. For virtual tabletops, do not export with a grid on, but if you're exporting for like print or like a TV tabletop, right, it's probably a good idea to have the grid on. That's it was in the notes for the update. The no border option was just added in the new update. Noticing on this side though, you could see the line of the grid on this side, but you can't on this side. I'm gonna point that out. This is brilliant. How long did this take you to make, Ryzen? Like the little the hay yard here. Like there's just a harvest of some sort. Oh, there's your sickle. I was gonna say you need a sickle. Or a scythe, or whatever this is. Scythe. Sickle's the handheld one, right? Little guy. That. Could have one of each. 10 to 20 hours? Impressive. Not bad. I love when I see the hay floor being used. Especially in like a barn or a stabling type space. Kraken, I want to tell you right now. So I'm not going to say this as I'm saying this in like the lightest and most like encouraging and like nice way possible. This is not to talk down to you or make you feel, you know, belittled or anything like that. So I hope you don't take it that way. In 2 years of working for Dungeon Alchemist, in playing on at least 5 different tables as a player and playing on 2 as a DM, as well as, you know, encouraging and working with hundreds of thousands of DMs and players as the community manager, I have not once, well, okay, one time I had a DM tell me that their players noticed the blur. Out of all the other encounters, not once have they ever noticed it. And let me explain that phenomenon and why. First and foremost, as DMs, GMs, we are a little bit cursed in a way. We're detail-oriented. And that's part of the reason we became DMs. We notice all the little details, and we fixate on them, and we build these brilliant environments. We weave these amazing, stories and production level, encounters for your players so they can be more immersed in it, correct? You see Dungeon Alchemist and you play in it and you export it and it looks a little blurry and you're like, oh man, that is awful. But I'll be honest with you, your players don't notice that. When they're there to kick butt and grab loot. And in more cases than not, they will never notice those pixels or the little things that you think will be immersion breaking or kind of ruin the moment. So I'm going to point that out. And then secondly, I just want to say that ultimately, I don't think your players would also rip on your maps that way. Like, that's kind of rude, you know? They wouldn't, I don't think they'd point it out and be like, oh, that's blurry. More often than not, they just won't care or they won't notice it. So just keep that in mind, and you can export it whatever you want, but do keep in mind as well that virtual tabletops, they all recommend keeping your DPI as low as possible. In fact, so I think Roll20 recommends 70 DPI, so even lower than we offer. Foundry recommends 72. Fantasy Grounds recommends 72. Part of the benefit of this is it keeps these files small, and if you have the file as a small file size, your players can load the file more often than not. On every table, there's one player who has, you know, like a kind of an iffy ISP, like a bad internet service provider that is either throttling their data or slow, or maybe they have a potato computer that just isn't that powerful. It's like 15-year-old laptop and that's what they can play on. Whatever, you know, in those instances, you got to cater to, in this case, your production to the players, you know, the whole chain link of your players. Be able to load that map for everyone easily and effectively. So when you think of that as a DM, you know, you're making this brilliant story, all these brilliant maps. At the end of the day, if one of your players can't load it, that's kind of frustrating, right? In my opinion, I would make sure that across the board, it is as digestible for every player. Everyone can load it effectively and quickly and be able to play, so there's no delays, there's no having to refresh, there's no problems with, you know, those kind of things. And as a result of which, the story will be much smoother, the play will be much smoother, and the little things like pixels, they probably will never notice or point out. See, that's the thing, DM. Exactly. It's because either the map was too large or possibly the file size was too large, or a combination of both. So if the image is large, like this map here, if you export at a high DPI, you're only doing yourself a disadvantage, not doing yourself any favors or your players any favor. It may look better, but ultimately your players may not be able to load it, especially on a map this large. So I don't mean to disparage or anything or talk down to you, and I understand those options are there and they're really tempting. I get it. I understand the psychology of it. You see low quality at 72, you're like, ugh, low quality. Why would I want low quality when I could just flip up to high quality or very high quality for free? It does come at a price, though. Your players may not be able to load it at those higher levels. I personally, if you zoom in way far, you might notice it, but more often than not, your players don't zoom in like that. They kind of stay at one fixed level. They may zoom in once in a while, but a lot of times they stay at like a fixed level. Anyway, that wasn't a rant or anything. That's more of an educational piece. When it comes to virtual tabletops in particular, you want to keep the file as small as possible, especially for online play. If it's localized play, it doesn't matter as much. Usually you have one rig loading it. Hey, Centimar, how you doing? That, Seisu, pro tip. Always have the still map available if the animated map isn't working for everyone as a backup scene. Very smart. That's brilliant. KO'd, thank you for the like. Much appreciated. Brilliant map. I love the size and this, like, you've got all the roads planned out. There's a lot going on here. Yeah, that's a good idea there, Remy, as well, DM. Both great suggestions. I mean, yeah, on smaller maps, it's a great idea to do the higher DPI, but if you get into a bigger map, anything over 25 by 25, probably not a good idea. Let me point out one other thing, too. If you're printing the maps or you're doing like a video export for localized play on a TV tabletop or something, what I just said does not apply. You could go very high DPI if you want. I think that these should be restricted to print and video exports, not the VTT exports. It's part of, there is a lot of, confusion and dissatisfaction around this feature. A lot of people export at these high ones because they want the best quality print for their players, and it ultimately ends up causing loading issues. So, oh man. And I'm sure with time we'll offer better compression on our exports, more optimization. But just given the current limitations and availability. Thank you for the confirmation there, Pterodol. And every table is going to have a slightly different experience. Everyone on your table, if they have like really good gaming rigs and good internet, by all means, export at 150, 300. I just, if you run into an issue where it won't load or it's a black screen, that's probably because the file limits have been hit. Either the resolution limits or the file limits, size limits. Ah, Gamroot, that's an interesting way to do it. So do you share at the first person level, or at what level are you sharing it, like a top down when you're live streaming that portion? Like a screen share? All right, let's find us another map while we're waiting for that answer. First person, yeah, that's one of my favorite things to do, is to share a first person view of a map with players. And so you stream the first person view of wherever they're at in top down, and you follow along wherever they are in that top down view. Oh my goodness, that looks awful. Not gonna look at it. Let's take a look at this Wizard Jungle Paradise. Love seeing all these maps on multi-level, rooms at different heights per se. Okay. Wow. Sam, unfortunately, we had to remove it due to some restrictions on one of the platforms that were brought to our attention. So, for the time being, it will be removed. So I just interact with everyone, and I'll try and say everyone's name and what they say in chat, and I'm trying to build the habit of that. But until then, that's really the only option I've got. I'm sorry, Sam. So Sam Bennett says the full chat isn't showing behind Mac as it usually does, which is correct. Usually we have like a little bit of like a chat feed that you can follow along on every platform, and that was 'twas ruined. I mean, ultimately, you are kind of using Dungeon Alchemist in a way it wasn't intended, so there is going to be some issues. Just kind of plan ahead to look down or look away when you don't want them to see certain things. Another thing, on the horizon at some point, we do plan to add, basic, like, VTT Lite features. Ultimately, though, that'll be when we leave early access, so probably way, down the road. But things that we've talked about are things like Fog of War, dice rolling, the like. Hey, how you doing, Highland Lass? Welcome, welcome. I appreciate the feedback, Sam. Honestly, no, that is good. You would have been the first person to point it out, so thank you. Unfortunately, it's just for the time being, we just got to remove it until we figure out a better solution. I'm hoping that I can change and limit the feed for that one person or that one feed, and then everyone else can get it. I don't know if it's possible, though. We'll have to see. I like this a lot. Very clean layout. Oh, very cool, Ryzen. That's an interesting story. So Ryzen says, Castal, the map we were just looking at prior to this one, is actually the place where 4-player characters in my world retired. My knight took care of the village and built a castle nearby. Didn't fit the entire village map. Over many different games in this world, 3 more players decided to join their knights. Only mine and the 1 more still actively played. Also, an alchemist was like, you guys will build me a shop? Of course I'll stay here. Oh, funny. Island Lass says, oh, good, thank you. Been watching a TV program about castles, meant to come watch here. Was good prep for a build I've been wanting to do for a long time, which might just be possible. What's the build you're wanting to do? This is your first build after the update, Dyson? Well, I love it. It's quaint. It is very quaint. May I ask how long you put into this? Like, to build it? I really love this boat, by the way. Looks comfy. Four hours? Not bad. Ooh. Got a back patio. Weird that it, like, blocked me from exiting. Oh, there's a little bit of something right there. A little bit of something that flipped through. Oh my, Demonic Milk, thank you for the raid. Much appreciated. Welcome, raiders. Welcome, welcome. We got Mr. Iceman and Yippee. Welcome, welcome. And Demonic Milk. We're great. Thank you for the raid, and thank you for asking. We are browsing through some new maps, fresh maps that have been shared on the Steam Workshop since our most recent update released on the 12th. Which has, you know, empowered our community to build round and diagonal walls and buildings at multiple heights for the first time. And so we're starting to see some very creative maps. What were you just streaming, Demonic Milk? And thank you for that follow. So this is, my name is Mac. I'm the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist, and this is our official channel on Twitch. And essentially, we're streaming the utility in action, and it's a map making and immersion utility for tabletop games like D&D, Pathfinder, etc. Yeah, this is the official Twitch for Dungeon Alchemist. Very much the official. Not just a fanboy. If you, like, I'm wearing a shirt and everything. But welcome, and thank you again for the raid, and welcome raiders, welcome to the community. Can we get some hellos to the raiders? And but yeah, if you have any questions related to Dungeon Alchemist, feel free to ask. I'm here to answer them and guide you. Think of the stream as like an AMA format. That we were just checking out this map here. Hey, DM, you're welcome back anytime. See you later, my friend. Sorry, what, Dyson? The cauldron is hiding behind the chairs? I'm confused. Cauldron. Let's see a cauldron by the chairs. Oh, there's a little baby one, yeah. Oh, I always thought you were talking about this one. I'm like, it's there. I see it. That's adorable. Let's look at the gallivanting cauldron. This guy right here. Yeah, he's a little cutie, for sure. I love all the little drawers on this. Such an interactive piece. Very cool. Oh, look, there's a little Hendrik drawing in it. A little scribble. Little student graffiti. Very well done. So on the various desks from the potion shop stuff, or the potion class, sometimes you can get a variant of it with the Hendrik scribblings on it. Stuff like that. But yeah, there's little shelves on the sides that you can, and there's a little fireplace. Honestly, there was a lot of, it's a good spread. It's like all the different schools of magic, you know, like you have things that are necromancy in style, you have things that are divination, you have druidic styles, you have different things that kind of lean into different, like, either classes or schools of magic. And then there's even chronology, like, you know, stuff, and alchemy, all sorts of different things. So you can essentially kind of lean into any one of those that you want. But yeah, there's some horror things that kind of border on the terrifying. There's some things that are more whimsical and fey, you know, induced. It's just across the board, and I think that was kind of the thing that was the plan with that. Demonic Milk, no, that's not the case. If you wanted to DM for a group of 4, this is, you don't play in Dungeon Alchemist. You actually make the maps in Dungeon Alchemist, or you can film, like, or take screenshots or film for, like, handouts. You export your maps to use for either print. So if you were playing in person, you can print them, or you can order a map through our partner Kraken War Games, or like a neoprene map. There is also options to export as a digital file, like a JPEG, or a video file like a WebM or an MP4, so you can play on a TV tabletop or a projector tabletop at home. And then lastly, we offer exports for virtual tabletops. So if you were playing online, a virtual tabletop is the best way to go. There's like Roll20, Foundry, Fantasy Grounds that we offer compatibility with. You export your map to the virtual tabletop, such as Foundry, and then your players would play on that system. Most of those, you don't need to buy multiple licenses, just one, like a lifetime, or they have a varied license that you can get that allows you to just provide player coverage for all your players. Foundry's license enables that. I think it's $50. Roll20, you can do their free version or their paid version. Each one's fine. Fantasy Grounds just lowered their prices on their like ultimate license. It used to be $150 and now it's $50, so that's the same price as Foundry, and that it extends the license to all the players. So it really just depends on how you want to play, which system you want to use. Big Hugs asks, what's the end goal use case for this? So you make and build maps that you can export for however you discern to play tabletop games, whether it's in person or online. We offer support and options for that. It's an immersive map making tool that allows you to build very detailed maps that offer either straight up just flattened top down or essentially perspective 3D exports that feel more immersive than just like a hand-drawn map, or maybe a map you found online that's great, but it may not be what you were looking for. So the benefit of having your own map-making tool is you can build maps for your tabletop campaign with relative ease. So essentially, Dungeon Alchemist is designed to use in tandem or independently. So, big hugs, depending on how you play, you may not need other things, or you may. If you want to play in person, say with your players with printed maps, really all you'd need is a printer at home, and just this to make and print the maps. Or maybe you could take your maps to like a print shop, get them printed there. Alternatively, we have a partner named Kraken War Games that you can order and they'll ship out a mat of your map directly to you. But if you're playing online, yes, you will need extra software to facilitate that play. We offer a great map making solution, which in most cases the online playing solutions don't have any map making in them or very limited map making. So we give you a beautiful map making tool that allows you to supplement your campaign. And if you think about it, like no carpenter, for instance, like a carpenter can't build cabinets with just a hammer, right? They need a saw, they need nails, they need all sorts of different tools to effectively build any form of carpentry for the most part. So with DMing, if you think about it, you have a tool chest for DMing, right? And there's different tools. It may be the books you purchase or minis. It could be maps you make or a map making tool you use or several in tandem. It could be maps you purchase online, effects, online tools such as virtual tabletops. So essentially, I think in order to, that's not saying this is the same for every DM, but it's nice. A great way to be an effective DM is to have a lot of different tools in your tool belt to use in tandem to effectively weave a story and produce and play this story out to your players. So a beautiful map maker can go a long way to offering brilliant immersion for your players. Anyway, moving on, let's find another map. Actually, you know what? We've taken a look at a few maps. Let's take a look at some assets, and I want to do this in the Dark Parchment biome because now you can open up and look at objects in there. Thank you, early access creators, for finally convincing the devs this was worth it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go onto the workshop, go to Browse Assets, and we're going to sort by not most popular, but most recent. I like sorting by recent because you can see all the latest things that have been uploaded. Demonic Milk, I mean, it's possible to build large-scale cities, but to keep in mind, Dungeon Alchemists, like the scale of a map and the amount of objects you can put on it is directly proportionate to how powerful your computer is. So the more powerful your computer is, the larger the map you can make effectively. The less powerful your machine is, the less or the smaller a map you can make effectively. Because you're essentially rendering a full-time 3D environment in real time. So like here, let me show you, this is like a full city map with like, several tiers with a castle and like upper crest area and like walls and all that stuff. It's 73 by 50 tiles, and that's 5-foot tiles. So it's rather large. We looked at one earlier, it was 140 by 120. It's very possible to build cities. It's not auto-generated, which a lot of people like our software because you can generate environments and rooms and stuff really quickly. But at least it's possible. If you have a powerful enough machine, by all means, you could definitely make, full-on cities, towns, villages, etc. Let's get back to the assets here. We're going to go to the asset browser. I want to look by most recent. We're going to take a look here. There's a pigeon. I don't know if it's animated. We'll take a look and see. Probably not, given the size. So like me and my computer, I have a 4070 Ti, 128 gigabytes of RAM, and like a 6900 or something AMD processor. And ultimately, I can build maps up to like 120 by 120, no problem. But if you have a little bit more dated machine or a little bit, like more limited machine, like a laptop, you may want to test your machine and see how big of a map you can make before it starts really lagging out. Test it. 40 by 40, 50 by 50, 60 by 60. If it takes 10 minutes to generate a map, it may not be a good idea to build on that. It always renders in high res, Saki, so you can set it to low. So that doesn't look like it has any animations. So, Saki, if you go into settings, you can set graphics detail between low, medium, and high. It'll always export on high. So just leave it in low if you want to save frames. Another pro tip, make sure you set an auto save up. So you're saving automatically every, couple of minutes, every 1 to 5 minutes. So if you crash or something or freeze, you don't lose your work. Lastly, under the View tab here, you can disable natural animations. This does not disable all animations on the map, just things like water, lava, trees, but it does help save a few frames. So just a simple pigeon not doing anything. Nothing crazy about it. Let's take a look at some more. Sort by recent. Is this animated? 42 megabytes. Thank you for the warning. Oh man, 183 megabytes. See, look at this before you download stuff. 183 megabytes. That's a massive file. Mantis Being. Let's look it up. This one? Take a look at this bad boy. Yeah, you got it under monsters in the token menu. Makes sense. So, if an object has an animation, it'll automatically give it this play pause button, so you can just pause it and stop it. I'm confused by what you mean by that, Seisu. And if the asset has multiple animations or lights on it, so if it has multiple animations, instead of the play button, it'll have like a fast forward button, so you can go from animation to animation. And then lastly, if it has lights on it, then you can change the color of the light, the brightness, and turn it on and off. Very cool. Wandering secret door. That's very cool. Yeah, Asmo, you need to set up a door that rotates on its hinge, right? That just rotates open and then rotates closed. Those are its two states, so those are the two animations. So someone can use the animation button to open it, animation button to close it, but also you may need to make sure the collider in the middle is non-existent so you can walk through it. So it'll do this, right? And open and close the animated door. That'd be great, Asmo. Like a handful of them. Like maybe 5 to 10 doors. Yeah, big hugs. Let me show you. So let me generate a Fey environment. So anyone a fan of the Fey Plain, the Fey Wild? I'm going to generate a mushroom forest in the Fey Wild here really quickly. 40 by 40 really quickly. We'll do, let's make it a spiral, and we'll put a river running through it. So I give it some parameters, the AI, and then it'll procedurally generate the environment. Speaking of AI, our AI is trained entirely in-house with assets made in-house by a talented team of artists. So none of our AI is trained from things that are, scraped or scooped online. Meaning none of your maps on the Steam Workshop, none of your assets on the Steam Workshop are used in our AI to train it or help supplement it. Additionally, we don't scrape any public data for it. So it is all developed in-house, above board, and ethically. We're very proud of that point. And we like to make sure that everyone knows it. That's like a yin-yang island, isn't it? Didn't it just like yin yang out, kind of? So the thing is we have an uphill battle because constantly people are saying that, you know, we are unethical or that we're stealing people's art without really doing much research into our AI or how it functions or how it compares. I'll be honest with you, there is a lot of AI out there, tons of it, and you've been using it unknowingly for years. You know, AI predicts weather, AI does the traffic lights at the intersection, AI does banking, it does all sorts of stuff. You use it all the time. It's in video games. The NPCs are controlled by AI. I do understand that there is some AI that is a little bit troublesome and can be foreseen as maybe job stealing or maybe industry breaking. And we definitely don't fall into that category. I feel we're a very supplemental and useful tool that is time saving, which is part of the point of AI, to help you save time and, you know, allow your life to be more fun and easier. Yeah, so Jabba, Dungeon Alchemist has AI in it to build, you know, the environments or to fill out the rooms that you generate, right? And I like to make sure that people understand that we definitely are different than, say, ChatGPT or Midjourney or something like that. We're not a generative AI or a current gen AI. We didn't steal any of the assets or scrape any of the data used to train our AI or fill the AI with, you know, all of the asset beauty. It depending on how powerful your computer, it can be faster or slower for sure. Here, let me generate a jungle really quick so you can see that. We'll do a flooded mountains, or like, no, let's do a floodplain jungle. And we'll do a 60 by 60, even bigger. See, that's the thing. A lot of people will either use the AI and then make a map and then call it a day. Some people will generate a map, use that as a foundation, and then supplement it with their own building. So I think Dungeon Alchemist is the best of both worlds. You get the AI supplementation to speed things up, or you can roll up your sleeves and build everything by hand down to the slightest detail if you want. So here we made like a nice little flooded, swampy jungle type environment. Exactly. But would you agree that saves you time? Jabba? No, we were just discussing it in general. The discussion of AI came up, so we were just kind of educating the masses. We're on like 6 different platforms live right now, so it's always good to educate new viewers, new eyes that may be watching and wondering. So, okay, let's ask a question to all chats. So, you use Dungeon Alchemist to make maps, of course. Most of you are probably fans of Dungeon Alchemist, have it, or are interested in it. When you make a map in Dungeon Alchemist, do you use the AI 100%? Like, do you just use the AI and then export the map and call it a day? Do you use about 50-50, meaning you use the AI to generate the environment, but then plug in details by hand? Or do you 100% by hand? Doesn't it, Sam? It looks really good. 50-50, Rifus? It's always good to hear community feedback on this. Speaking of community feedback, I've been given authorization to post up a community survey, which will allow us to gather feedback related to our next update, which will be Fun with Objects. If you haven't heard, our next update, we've already picked the theme from the stretch goal list. It will be Fun with Objects, and we've already kind of shown a list of planned features on our upvote, so you can actually see what the devs are planning at the moment. So let me pull up the upvote so we can talk about it. So coming up next, some stuff y'all have been very, very eager for. Multi-level support with roofs. So on our upvote right now, in the coming up next section, it says multi-level support with roofing. We're going to be trying to tackle that in Fun with Objects. Now, I want to point out that this is quite possible now by hand. So if you're in the by hand camp, or the 50-50 camp even, you might be able to do some multi-level. You just got to do it by hand. A lot of the objects can stack. Objects can be raised up and down if you disable collisions, so you can build multi-level if you're willing to put in the time. Seisu, can you drop... Oh, the link should be just above your chat there, Sam Bennett from Seisu. So, drag and rotate room. Now, in this update, you can drag and rotate the floor plan, but in the next update, you'll be able to drag and rotate the room after it's generated, which is a huge, huge quality of life improvement. Separate ambient indoor and outdoor lighting, meaning no more shadows inside of buildings. So I'm assuming either will allow you to turn that off, or it'll only bleed through the windows and doors, which is much more natural. Obviously, the name of the stretch goal is Fun with Objects. Place doors without walls. So freestanding doors, and I'm hoping we'll get freestanding windows to go with it, so they could go on any height, you know, multiple levels, etc. But doors standalone is nice. It's cool. There are some tricks to place some doors, you know, freestanding, but it's kind of tricky. If anyone's interested, we'll show you that in a bit. Stairs going up to have a landing, so they actually attach between floors and have purpose, not just like an immersion stair. Indoor balconies and open space, meaning you'll be able to have indoor like balconies that you can see down to the floor below. All of these things are planned, are set as coming up next, which means they'll be in the next update. There are a few features that we're going to try and address. I'm not sure they'll be added to this list until they're 100% going to be added. So we'll see. Like, flip, rotate, XYZ axis for objects. This is planned, but I don't know if it'll make it into Fun with Objects. Should be on this list, though. So we'll see. You know what I mean? Mirror flip object should be in this list. We'll see. Anyway. So Wim has said we will try to commit to making that happen in the update. Carl has said it's impossible. But Carl has numerous times said something is impossible and then come around a couple days later and figured it out. So at this point, I would just say it's up in the air. There's a 50-50 chance we'll get that feature. Like rotating objects and mirroring objects. But we did also just migrate to a much newer version of Unity. It could open open us up to a lot more possibilities. Let's just say that. Let's go to a desert really quickly. Yeah, that'll be high seas, which is most likely going to be... So Ryzen asks, when will the pirate theme come? I mean, just so you know, there are a bunch of ships on the workshop. It's quite possible to build ships and do, like, ports and islands and seas. If you want the shipbuilder, obviously, though, you're going to be waiting for the high seas update, which, unfortunately, will likely be the last or second to last update. It's going to be a while. At this point, I can't even begin to speculate when that would be. Just, I know it'll be a long time. The ever thirsty community. We just released an update. Dang it, I need another one now. Kraken. Well, hey, on the plus side, y'all will keep me employed for a long time. So that's a good thing, right? So, Centimar, there's 3 screens in front of me, mounted on my desk and wall, but one of them is a widescreen split into 2, so technically 4. So I have DA on one screen, on another I have chat feeds on all the rest, kind of like a war room or like a hacker, you know? Enhance. So I do that, so I have 2 computers driving the stream. One is just solely to run Dungeon Alchemist, essentially, and to watch the stream feeds on different platforms to keep an eye on it, make sure it's coming through, and keep an eye on the chats. The other one is primarily for driving the stream. So on screen 2, it is essentially the software, the production software that drives the stream, which I use a varied software depending on when I'm streaming or where I'm streaming and what I'm doing. So I use Streamlabs for multi-streaming to all the different platforms. And I use OBS usually for recording. So I separate them and use them for different purposes. But right now, like, we're streaming to, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Steam, TikTok, all simultaneously. And in order to do that, if I was on just one computer with DA and that, it'd be very laggy. So having a dual stream setup, like a dual PC setup, allows that to happen. So that's part of the reason I have more screens too, Centimar. So one screen is just dedicated for one computer, and the other screens are dedicated for like DA and other, data. But if you think about it, being live on all those platforms, it pays to have lots of options to look at things and be able to reference a lot of information very quickly. How you doing, Rev? Hope you're well, my friend. Okay, let's get back into Dark Parchment and look at some assets for a minute before we wrap up. Oh, I never said it was a bad thing. That being said, though, I do think it is kind of funny how our community is relentless for the next bit of information, and it's good. It shows your passion for Dungeon Alchemist, your passion for our community and our product. Like, I'm not mad about it in any way at all. In fact, I'm excited and for the future. It's just funny, we put like 8 months into this, it just come out, and people are like, update, next one, when? Like, soon, TM? I guess is the best answer I can give. I don't really have an answer. Right? I'm not fully convinced that Carl might have some sort of like contract with a patron of some sort, or demon. Instead of clones, he might have simulacrums, an eldritch pact of some sort. Oh, hey, Milks, thank you. The devs put a lot of effort into the particle effects and glass effects, of this update to make sure they felt unique and new. A lot of assets got like a facelift, particularly glass assets. So they were just given a lot of like a breath of fresh air, essentially, allowing them to stand up to this update. There was a bunch of new books added as well. If you hadn't noticed, there is tons of new books. And so essentially between books and potions, there was quite a few new things added. Let's see here. I believe it's under craft. So many of the original like assets got the new glass and like effects of the the stuff inside, so it looks more real, more clean, if you will. And then we have all these like varied potion bottles, but if you haven't noticed, this one big, many of the potion objects have tons of different like potion options that you can use in them, and they're moving. There's like actual liquid movement that you can kind of see. The Book of Enforced Literacy. But there are so many potion options now, like potions for days. So you can really set up like an alchemist workshop or a potion shop to really have a bunch of diversity. From top down, depending on the asset, you might be able to lightly see it. You know, like this one here, but this is big, so probably not. Oh no! You were looking for what, Sam? I just want to make sure that wasn't a typo. This one you would be able to see from a top down if the animations. You know, some of the animations, especially when they can only be seen at like an angle, I think there's this like kind of misconception that they're in our community that those assets are useless. Because, you know, if you only use top down, then you get no use out of that. Remember, you can always take screenshots or handouts like video at different angles to give your players as handouts and kind of a feedback mechanism when they interact with something. So maybe they're pilfering a shelf full of potions or at a potion shop. You could give them an angle of the shelves as a video clip that they could watch. So you may not have a use of it right away, but if you think outside the box, you can find a lot of creative ways to use it. And ultimately, eventually, as we add like VTT Lite features, you may get more use out of this. I think Sack put up a video that might show some tips and tricks for workarounds for that. You might want to check the tips and tricks section of the Discord. These boots of displacement, when they're big, they look very displaced. By the way, when you put these out, they jump. It's a gag. If you hold shift, they don't. I think the one's after the first one. But if you grab it, yeah, if you hold shift, they don't. Isn't that funny? Oh my gosh. Where is that map that was on the workshop that was like a bookend? Right? Does everyone know what I'm talking about? Like an alley or something? Yeah, I was going to. There it is. Hangman's Alley. Yeah, they put a suggestion in there, Yodate. Did that help you at all? Unfortunately, I was in bed when all that came through. Part of the time, I live in the Western Hemisphere and I'm in the Pacific time zone. So a lot of that came through either in the afternoon after, I was done for the day, or in the evening. But the comments there, I saw that they recommended the keyboard settings. Did that work for you at all or no? Okay, but did you change Dungeon Alchemist settings to match to Azerty? So in the settings menu, under controls, did you change it from QWERTY to Azerty here, so it matches your Azerty layout? Try changing it off, saving it, and then changing it back. See if that changes anything. Just unstick it to one layout and change it back, save it as a QWERTY, and then go back into it. So nowhere in here did you let us know that you changed it off of that. After Remy said that, so I didn't know that it didn't work for you. But if you want to comment in that feed there, I'm assuming you're in Spector, let us know there that it did not work. So Remy gave you a suggestion there. If that didn't work, then I will pass it on to the devs and they'll take a look. But yeah, there was a suggestion in there for you to follow. But if anything, flip it to QWERTY, save. Go back into the menu, flip it back, and just see if, and report back, see if that changes anything back to Azerty. Cool. More than likely, I'm hoping it just is something as sticky and it's acting funky, but it could be broken after the update and we'll just have to fix it. But that being said, full international support isn't something on the menu, so we'll... Oh man, what? I cannot move the camera. Weird. This map is like broken. We'll try again. Huh. Oh, you know why it's broken? Because I'm in Azerty. I moved over and forgot. There we go. But yeah, I'll pass it on to the devs and let them know. And when it comes to like international and language support, stuff like that, unfortunately, I don't know other keyboard layouts like offhand. And it's something we don't offer directly short of those two keyboard layouts. So it's kind of, there are some issues. There's going to be some issues from time to time. The one thing I can recommend, though, is I do know that there is a keyboard file, like a JSON file. Hold on one second. I believe if you go into properties and go to installed files and then go to browse, it'll go right to... Nope, it's not in this one. Darn it. I thought it was in here. In one of the Steam folders, like wherever, it might be where it's installed actually. There is a space to look at the actual like keyboard layout. Say Sue, Asmodeus, do you know how to get to the keyboard layout, the keyboard JSON file, the key bindings for DA? I'm just not remembering it offhand. Here, let me pull up my file browser on a separate screen and I'll look for it. Let's see here. I believe in the Windows folder, and then you go to Steam. Yeah. Okay, it's in Program Files. Then let's Steam Apps. Maybe not. I don't know where it is. I am like completely lost at the moment. Steam game. Nope, that's not it. I found it the other day. There we go. Perfect. Follow that. Depending on where you have that data, you know, if it's on your C drive, your D drive, wherever you saved it, it can make a lot of difference. Steam apps, common. Oh, it's definitely not in here. Not in this one. Yeah, it might be on my D drive. Anyway, follow that. That'll get you to the key bindings file. But kind of make a backup of that and edit it at your own risk, because if you mess around with it, you might run into issues. You can get there via properties? What? See, I don't think that's where mine goes. Not where it's installed, I think. Ah, maybe. Oh, nope, I found it. Maybe. Is that it? E-bind. Dungeon Alchemist data. Yep. So, if it, yeah, we were there. Dungeon Alchemist data. Then you go to streaming assets. And then key bindings right here. So this file here, like there might be some info about Z. But there might not, if I'm being honest with you. I'm looking at it. Oh, no. There's nothing about Control Z in here. Unfortunately. There is control for modifier here. No, that's just a normal Windows function, so it does not seem to be functioning correctly. But yeah, give us some feedback in that Discord, and we will update accordingly. I'll loop in one of the devs, and maybe when it's Monday and it's no longer the weekend, they can take a look at it, okay? Can you try the QWERTY really quick and see if it's different for you on that? Just regular QWERTY? It's almost like it's QWERTY in both or something. It's weird. That's interesting to say the least. Fortunately, I don't have a solution for you today, my friend. You're gonna just have to wait until we can get the process started to get the devs on it. So please respond in the Discord so we have updated, you know, information there, and then I will pass it on to them. That way, we'll do our best to, you know, remedy that as quickly as possible. It's not so much that I doubt you or anything. I just think us tracking it there is the best place, because that's an actual ticket, like a support ticket. Whereas here on the stream, after the stream, the chat's like non-existent. It'll be gone pretty quickly. In the Discord, the devs and I can track it and better test it. That's all. That looks pretty cool, admit it. Won't even give you time to say no. Like a little bookend diorama now. That's pretty cool. Brilliant. Yeah, yo, Date, it's not that I just, first off, I'm not a developer, so I couldn't fix this right now if I wanted to. Essentially, as the community manager, I'm supposed to gather as much data and information I can. And in Discord, when we do support threads, that is the absolute best spot. Other than that, or reporting right within Dungeon Alchemist, because the reports go right to the dev's email. But those support threads, all the information we track in it, whether it's a map file, all the information you've typed, it's like a living record that is very easily accessible with a link for any dev. They can look at it just like that. Oh no, and that's the thing. I wish I had a solution for you. It seems like something broke the keyboard layout somewhere along the lines. Maybe one of our hot fixes changed it. Maybe the Unity migration. There's always going to be those holdouts, Big Hugs, that want to keep it as the graph paper, and that's, to each their own. You can do your table, your game, as your level of interactivity and production however you want. My first game of D&D was on a piece of graph paper, blue line graph paper, and my token was a penny. I'm pretty sure that they were like, all our tokens were like either ripped pieces of paper, bottle caps, pennies, nickels, quarters, stuff like that. It's always been like that? Interesting. Well, thank you for bringing it to our attention. We wouldn't have known otherwise. So let's, first off, now that we can better track it and try and figure it out, we'll go from there. I think part of the problem is we have limited, international, language support and or a focus on that, because as we're in early access, a lot of things are wonky and a constant state of flux, being changed constantly. And so that's part of the reason we have no localization or language support for other languages besides English. And little things like that might more often get overlooked, especially if there's a primary keyboard variation for another country that is something that we don't look at all the time. So thank you for bringing it to our attention. This is just brilliant. I love it. Here, I'm going to get into the cinematic camera. See it a little bit higher there. Token. That is brilliant. It'd be cool if we had a bunch of other books around it, like a shelf and stuff. Okay. Hold up. Hold up. It's kind of thin for that. We need one that's a little bit broader. Oh no! That's pretty cool. That's some straight up Arietti stuff right there. What do you think? Does that look pretty good? Put some books at the other shelf up above. That's brilliant. I like it. I think it's great. All right. I think I'm going to wrap up the stream, everyone. Had a lot of fun. But it is 2 past 2, which means we are actually past our stream time. So, thank you everyone for hanging out with me today. Had a lot of fun streaming and sharing Dungeon Alchemist maps and assets with you. It's been an absolute blast. I appreciate you all being a part of this community and, making it what it is. Remember, our next stream is on Monday, Map Maker Monday. So if you are interested in catching a live build of Dungeon Alchemist, you can tune in on Monday on your platform of choice. We'll be out live on all the stream platforms we're live on today. And during Map Maker Monday, I'm actually tackling a multi-story round wizard tower. In fact, I'll open that map for you all to take a look before we wrap up. The Map Maker Monday streams are designed to allow you to watch a map made live so you can learn from my experience, essentially. You can ask questions and get guidance throughout the build. The build, you can also share feedback and suggestions. So it's a great way to essentially contribute to a live build and learn on the fly. If you enjoyed the stream and you want to make sure you catch any of them in the future, make sure you hit that follow button, subscribe button, like button, etc. so you can reference our channel in the future. Again, I appreciate each and every one of you that watched and participated. Whether you were actively chatting and, sharing insight and teaching and training people in the crowd, or you were asking questions and learning, absorbing content and data and getting better at your map making craft. Alternatively, if you were just here lurking and kind of learning passively in the background and just being part of the community and helping our community grow, I appreciate that as well. You can see here we have 3 floors so far. The 4th floor will be forthcoming, but it's kind of you can pull it apart here and look inside. We've got a 2nd floor, a 1st floor, 3rd floor, and a little outdoor garden area. I kind of want to expand the garden a little bit, and we've got a shed, outhouse. And one of the fun parts of this will be the roof eventually. Sorry, it's just over here. There's a little escape hatch out the back here, like a little sewer escape. So it's possible for him to escape if needs be. But I plan to flesh out this bedroom the next on Monday and get on to the 4th floor, which will be an observatory. So Mrs. Mac has been making me a roof that's similar to this one that will have a hatch in it that a telescope can go out. So that would be Anyway, thank you so much, everyone, for being here, for participating in the stream. Again, my name is Mac. I'm the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist. Dungeon Alchemist is an AI-powered map-making utility available on Steam. Be sure to catch our future streams in the future, and if you need any support while we're offline, be sure to check out our Discord. Home to over 33,000 members and counting. It is arguably the largest amalgamation of Dungeon Alchemist fans on the planet. You can get live support, ask questions, get to know other community members, ask GMs for advice on your homebrew campaign, or maybe stat blocks, or how to build a map, etc. And it's a great place to learn about Dungeon Alchemist's ins and outs, teasers, things that are upcoming. So we'll see you next time I give a damn. Back out, all right? Bye. See you later, everyone. End the stream here momentarily. In fact, let's just do a quick ad break and we'll wrap it up. Thank you. Bye, everyone.
You stand before the long, dark road to the fabled realm of Goyak-Ta, and before...
What do we see?
I don't know, a goblin.
I kill him!
But before she does, I, Gilliam of Firth, demand to know the goblin's name.
Hi, my name is Woblin.
Where do you live there, Woblin?
I don't think that's relevant.
Well, but I, Gilliam of Firth, demand to seek the goblin's abode.
Clever, find family, kill entire bloodline. I like it.
Seriously, we're doing this? Okay, well, won't be needing that anymore, will I?
Ever get caught by your players with your pants down? Dungeon Alchemist lets you create wonderful maps for any encounter in seconds.
Oh, Woblin, that's a very impressive cheese collection you've got there.
Yeah, it is quite impressive, yes. But you know what's more impressive? This map I have to the
Fabled realm of Goyak-Ta. Please take it and leave. Close the door behind you.
Mr. Woblin, I cannot help but notice that you have a secret tunnel underneath your cabinet. Care to explain?
Download Dungeon Alchemist, the AI-powered map maker, on Steam today.
You stand...
All right. Thank you for watching. See you later. Out. Bye.